I recently took over an 8-figure ad account, Perfectwhitetee. Here's how I managed to turn around the ad account in just 3 weeks. This brand primary KPI is ROAS, and I managed to increase it by 40% in just 3 weeks, from 1.13 to 1.63. Join me in showcasing to you how I managed to spot the mistakes, how I fixed them, and what changes I did in the ad account while increasing both ROAS and spend. Let's jump to the audit and to the ad account. So initially in the audit, I did notice that they scaled from Q3 to Q4, then from Q4 to Q1 was a drop in spend. After that, they increased the budget again, but not really hitting the target, which is 1.5 and ROAS. Currently, it was 1.3 in the period when I did the audit. In terms of the video, all metrics are below average. Thumbs up ratio is not really great, but it's kind of like diluted due to the lot of images. Hold rate is also not great, and average watch time is just 3 to 4 seconds. Interestingly, CPM is super high at the moment. Not sure is that competition or paid score or frequency, because we can see the frequency is pretty high during that period, like over 14. In terms of the conversion, CPA is currently highest, so which is reflecting in our ROAS, which is below the target, but something that's good at least is percentage of view through conversions, which is lowering at the moment, meaning that we are getting incremental sales, but not at the ROAS that we want. AOV is healthiest at the moment, but we see slight drop in conversion rate, which is usually correlated. When you have higher AOV, conversion rate goes down, but the goal is to fix ROAS. So basically, I checked the campaign. So in the last 7 days, ROAS is 2.8 and ROAS is 1.13. So let's check this campaign. This is the first one, ROAS 2.5 and ROAS 1.19, which is way below the target, but it's still heavy spender. It doesn't make sense to spend so much if you're way below the target, because Facebook cannot optimize them based on ROAS. When you look at this, it looks like you're crushing, but actually you're not getting new customers, which is your main KPI. If we check this campaign, this is how it was during the audit. So we can see that each new test is a new ad set, which is something that I like, but we saw that like there were a lot of underperformers that are getting spend, and there were a lot of tests that are basically not getting any spend at all during that period. What I identify as one of the main mistakes is the fact there was no exclusion of all the buyers. So there was only purchase 180 days exclusion, which is like a huge mistake, especially if you're optimizing for ROAS, because you're telling Facebook, hey Facebook, you can go whoever you want. So the first thing that I did in the ad account is added this list of all buyers, which is synced from Klaviyo, which is forcing Facebook to go after new customers. There was terrible optimization on the ad level. There were like a lot of ads that were still active. Now I optimized this, but this one was active, this one. So basically all three were below the target, and they were like among the highest spender. So it doesn't make sense to leave something that's good on ROAS if it's bad on ROAS. So that was mistake number 2. Using post ID, that was great. Ad copy and headline were pretty basic. For example, we had one ad that was saying discover new collection, which is resonating only with the existing customer, because like why someone who doesn't know about your brand would be interested in new collection. We had some 2 videos. My suggestions were like to make more of this one winning one and run this under whitelisting. The other campaign was Advantage Shopping Plus, which was again highest spender but way below the target. So if we check here under the Advantage Plus, I did notice that this was set on 10%. So I made a change to 0% because we don't want to go after existing customers. Previous media buyer was allowing Facebook to go after your existing customers. That's why you've had nice ROAS, but actually pretty bad ROAS. If we potentially check the breakdown, you could see that that period, like Facebook was spending percent of budget on existing customers. You can see it had like amazing ROAS. Unfortunately, we cannot see ROAS, but this was a huge mistake. Since I implemented the change to put it to 0%, this campaign is now getting us new customers. So that was mistake number 3. Yeah, you can clearly see the difference in ROAS and ROAS. This ad set is using just one ad, which is hit or miss approach. Basically, you're forcing Facebook to spend the money on that variation. I always like to have a couple of variations to give Facebook an illusion of choice. Next campaign, this Advantage Plus collection. Again, there was no cap for buyers, which is something that I implemented. When I checked conversion rate for engagement segment, here it was like you could see that engagement audience was getting conversion rate of almost 14, which is like really impossible. So if we check the attribution settings, we could see that it was probably getting most of the view-through conversions, which is the case. Yeah, like you can see 8 view conversions out of 9, which is a huge mistake. So whoever was optimizing, he was increasing the budget on sales that are not really incremental. So that was also something that I tried to fix. So it's kind of like recap of mistakes. There was no optimization for NC ROAS. The media buyer was optimizing based on ROAS, which is not the main KPI. There was no buyer exclusions. There were high cap for buyers, no optimization on the ad level. All ads were active. The budget was not aligned to the performance. So basically we had campaigns that were like pretty high spenders, but pretty terrible in results. Sometimes we had one ad per ad set, no additional audiences testing, super basic ad copy, often no description in the ad, no variation of the catalog ad, and lack of creative diversification. So if we check 30 days before I take over the ad account, let's say from 16 to 14, we could see that the spend was 230, ROAS was 1.14. In the last 30 days, when I take over the ad account from 15 to 12, 240, so basically 20k higher spend, and ROAS is 1.67. So let me walk you through stuff that I did in the ad account. First, so I added here this audience of all buyers. That's first thing. The other thing is that I put 0% cap in all of the Advantage Shopping Plus, which I forced Facebook to go after new customers. So you remember this one had ROAS of 1.09, currently has 1.95, just by one small change. That's the thing number one that I changed. I added exclusions in all of the campaigns. Second, they had the CBO testing campaign where there were a lot of tests that were not getting the results or not even getting the spend. So I cut everything. Now that we are looking on a 30-day period, it's slightly different. Let's check last 7 days. So basically I cut all of the underperformers. All of the tests that had bad results, they were turned off, but based on NC ROAS. That was the second thing. So here, I think they had like over 20 different tests. Let me maybe check during that period in June before I took over. So you can see a lot of the tests. A lot of them had bad results. A lot of them were active. A lot of them were not getting even any spend. So I optimized everything based on NC ROAS. The next thing is I went through the whole ad account and picked the ads that had the best NC ROAS in the last 6 months. And I grouped them here by videos and 2 sets of images. And I take the post ID from them. So I launched Advantage Shopping Plus with all of those winners. So you can see the settings. It is just 0%. It was just 0% for buyers and all of those ads, but each ad is using the post ID. If you check it here, yeah, so you can see the post ID, all of the ads, because I want to carry this social proof. So that was the second thing that I implemented. Third thing is that I group those winners by similarity. So you can see here videos, those are the videos that I identified here. Then we had second, I call that the batch, winning other images. So grouped by similarity, you can see the similar concept. And then I also had one set of winners. So these are these text images that had a text overlay. So again, group those by similarity. And I started testing them with the different audiences, initially with the broad, but then also like retail clothing stores, lookalike of buyers, just clothing. So you can see that like I'm spending like almost 500, 600 per some of the tests. And you can see that NC ROAS is above target. So that was second thing that I did, ABO with audiences. Third thing I did is I implemented ABO testing campaign. So you can see here, this was the old one. CBO, currently we have only like 3 ad sets active out of what, 20 plus. And I implemented ABO testing campaign where each of the tests is actually a new ad set. So you could see here that, let's say, this Margot Heather Gray. So basically we had different variations of the same concept because I want to test each of my concept in a new ad set. I want to dedicate each of the budget and I want to scale it. So potentially if I was testing this in a CBO, this would maybe not get them even any spend. Maybe it would get like 1-2 sales, but this way I can scale every concept that's great, which allows me to get lists like from 100 to 650 in 2 weeks and like it's crushing. So basically I'm increasing this almost on a daily basis. So that was thing number 3, ABO testing campaign. Thing number 4 is catalog. So basically remember that catalog with one variation here. I did some additional variations. So I added different product properties of the catalog product name plus price. I played with slideshow and just images. So you can see here, it's like it's really crushing. 1.97 this one ad, overall 2.2. So that's why I implemented additional audience with, again, all of those products. Down the road, I'll probably play with the product sets to isolate only a higher price point product, because we can see in this one, I'm getting AOV of 150, which is below the average. So that's pretty much it. Some kind of recap of the changes that I did is, first of all, I included all the buyers in exclusions. I put 0% cap for all buyers. I optimized everything based on the NC ROAS. I identified best ads and launched them in Advantage Shopping Plus with 0% cap. I grouped those ads and test them with different audiences. I added multiple variation of the catalog, and I tested all of the new concepts in an ABO, which allows me to scale every concept individually. How it looks like in the ad account, so you can see the spend was like 7K when we started, but now we are at 10K, and you can see the ROAS is initially it was pretty bad, then we had a nice bump. We had some problems here where we were out of stock, but now again we are scaling. So overall the budget is increased by like what, 20-30%, and ROAS increased by 20-30%, which is a huge success. So now when we set up a foundation, we are ready to scale. If this is something that you want to implement in your ad account, so we can actually scale your ad account, book a free audit below. If you're not on the level that you're spending 50K a month at the moment, just check my video, like and subscribe, and I appreciate the support.